It's your boy Neal back with another reaction video, guys. Here we are with what I dislike about the USA after 6 years living abroad. I'm very intrigued to hear these perspectives, and before we do, subscribe to the channel, ring notification bell, get a video a thumbs up so it gets suggested. You guys got a favorite video suggestion, you can subscribe to Patreon or drop it in the comment section. What we got?
Good morning, guys. In this video, I'm going to talk about what I dislike about America after living abroad for 6 years.
Talk to me.
Last video was about the positives, now the negatives.
Ooh.
And a little background, I've traveled to 85 countries,
Dang.
lived in 4, and one caveat, this all comes from my personal experience. When comparing countries, it's tough. There's not one label you can put on places. Nothing, what I'm saying doesn't apply to everyone, obviously. So go in knowing that it's not black and white. There's a lot of gray here. But I'm gonna bring you into the main things that stick out to me after coming back to the States. Number 1, media. Wow, it's really gone down the toilet, the mainstream media in this country.
Yes, that's
really
facts.
bad. If it was nutrition, it would be the choice between Captain Crunch and Fruit Loops. And imagine trying to be an athlete living off that diet. Well, the media is sort of like that in the knowledge space of what the world is like and what the country is like. They're doing a huge disservice for our collective psyche. They're not interested in our psychological well-being. They're not interested in building a better country. They're only interested in ad revenue and division. Division and negativity makes more money. So I think in 100 years or so, people are gonna look back on society and say, wow, there was actually a point in time where the model of the media was to pit people against each other through half-truths, through fear, through manipulation. By doing so, they'd make more money. And by also doing so, the end result is they do detrimental harm to society. And they're gonna look back and say, wow, what was wrong with those people in 2021? That's how I feel right now. The media, in a way, a lot of the media is like a brand that's sold out. I think of my Samsonite bag I used to have. I had it for 12 years. This thing was properly abused all over the world. And finally it quit. But I got 12 years of use out of it. It was a really good bag.
Dang, that is
and I'm
nice.
like, well, that's a great brand. I think I'll buy another one of these bags.
Yeah.
In week 2 on my Samsonite bag, the wheel fell off.
Ooh,
and
me too?
I lost all my good feelings about that brand. I feel that's the same for a lot of the big names in media who even 5 years ago and definitely 10 years ago had credibility, were looking for objective truth, wanted to do the right thing, had integrity, out the window now. The good thing about this is I think many people are waking up to this fact. Number 2,
That was complete all facts, bro. The media is definitely, it feels like it's set to pit people against each other. It feels like it's set to divide people, have people fighting 100%, and people watch it and buy into it. And it may be dying out a little bit. People might be starting to wake up, but there's still so many who like, especially with social media and mainstream TV and news and all of this crap. Like, you see so many people fighting on social media, and it's like, bro, like, why are you guys fighting about that? You don't understand. And it's like, it feels like they're almost programmed to fight against each other. Because of the media that they watch, you're choosing that. What do you say? Captain Crunch, Fruit Loops. Both are terrible for you. But so mainstream media, yeah, I think he was spot on with what he said about that. Spot on.
Many people are waking up to this fact. Number 2, politicians. Politicians are doing a wonderful job dividing us Americans.
Facts!
And so, whether it be the Nancy Pelosi's or the Mitch McConnells, they're pretty much the same people. They do not have our interest in mind. They have their interests in mind. They have their backers' interests in mind. And so what they're doing is putting us against each other when what we should be doing is collecting ourselves and going against them. Number 3, curiosity.
The number 2 is literally spot on again. So many people will die on a hill to defend their favorite politician. And it's like, if you could just shake them and be like, that politician does not care about you. They don't have your best interest in mind. They have their best interest in mind. If you could shake them and wake them up and so they can open their eyes and see that they're defending someone who doesn't give one care in the world about them. Keep going, my guy. You on fire.
And going against them. Number 3, curiosity. A lot of Americans are curious, but a lot aren't. And it's easy to get stuck in our information silos, in our cultural silos. It happens for me, and the longer I'm away from society, the longer I'm on the internet, it's like my curiosity dissolves to some degree. You know, I find myself looking in the same spaces. You know, we get stuck in our digital realities, which, look, I've found do not match what's going on, you know, on the streets in America. Downtown San Francisco today, this is Sunday morning. It's really quiet these days. Lots shut down.
Sheesh.
And it doesn't look much different on Monday morning. Okay, 4, racism. This last year, we've been told America is one of the most racist places on the planet. Well, at least the media is telling us that. The very interesting thing is...
Number 3 again, lack of curiosity. Okay, I definitely, I can understand that. I feel like a lot of people don't really like research things for themselves anymore. Don't look into things themselves. We just start going off of what somebody else says or what we watch in the mainstream media, what we watch or what we see on social media. Like, if somebody sounds like they're telling us the truth, then we automatically believe it rather than doing the research for ourselves.
On the planet, well, at least the media is telling us that. The very interesting thing is, when I get on the ground here, whether that could be in the South Bronx, in New York City, I could be in Queens, where it's mostly Southeast Asians, could be with the Hasidic Jews, every different group here, zero problems connecting, talking with people on an equal level, zero tension between us being from different backgrounds. And so to be told that, you know, we're all pitted against each other, if you look online, you know, at the news, well, it's not how I felt on the ground. As far as coming from a different background and making it happen in this country and not being excluded, I do believe if you want it bad enough and you're hardworking, this place lets you achieve what you want to achieve with the least amount of tension from being from somewhere else. And I'm not discrediting anyone's racist experience. That happens. It's disgusting. It sucks. We need to get to less of that. But overall, America is one of the least racist countries I've been to. Number 5.
And I feel like we're definitely fed that a lot. Racism, pitting us against each other. We're fed that a lot as well. But I feel like him, I'm personally, and I, like he said, to not discredit anyone, but personally, I've never experienced it. I've never felt it. But that's me personally. I've never really had to think about it. But once again, there's so many people have so many different experiences. They have their own experiences about the environment or community that they grew up in. Me personally, I haven't ran into it.
America is one of the least racist countries I've been to. Number 5, fear. The U.S. lives in a lot of fear. I think more than any country I've been to. People fear sometimes the littlest things. Now, there is a reason to be fearful of what's going on in society, and if you lost your job, and if you're broke, there's legitimate reasons to be fearful about life. But there are also other reasons. I mean, sometimes people make the biggest issue out of something that shouldn't even exist. For example, I know a guy, he was talking about going into nature, like getting out of the cities because of COVID. I said, go to Joshua Tree National Park. It's beautiful, and there are all these dirt roads in the north side of it. Not many people go to. You can really get away from people, get lost. And he's like, well, what if I get a flat tire?
What?
He's got a new SUV.
What?
Okay. You get a flat tire, what happens? Do you change it? Okay? Is that the worst
Simple.
thing that happens? You put the spare on? Or maybe you have to call someone? Whatever. Anyways, in my opinion, quite an unnecessary fear. Fear with the COVID. I mean, it's nothing anyone's happy about. There are people dying. There are people suffering from it. It's a real issue. But for example, in this environment, when there's zero chance of me getting COVID, do I need to be fearful right now? No.
Yeah.
The interesting thing is there are a lot of people that, at least it seems to be in my neighborhood, that are even fearful in these environments, or if someone's, 30 feet away with both people with a mask on, they're scared. You can see it in their eyes. Number 6.
And it's crazy because I feel like with that one, like half the people were living in fear in the U.S. and the other half didn't even believe in the virus. So it was crazy. It was crazy to see the complete difference and to the extremes on both sides of the scale. Like they're living in complete fear. They feel like they're gonna catch it no matter what. This half don't even believe it exists, and they having a challenge. They still doing things normally as they would. So that one was crazy. But yeah, I feel like a lot of stuff. So like we see in the mainstream media, like you said earlier, shows a lot of negativity. It shows all of these things, and so people start living in fear about a lot of things.
They're scared. You can see it in their eyes. Number 6, lack of purpose / meaning. I think that's a Western world problem at the moment. What do we find meaning in? It's tough, especially now when we're locked inside and stuck on the digital platforms. Like, what's the purpose of it all? And if you don't have religion or some like very firm beliefs that you follow, what gets you up every day and gives you purpose? And that's a tough problem society is dealing with right now. I think that's everyone has to find purpose / meaning, and it's specific to them. But if you don't have that, I think things can be very difficult and very alienating and isolating right now. Number 7, entitled.
That was a good one. I don't really have too many thoughts on that, but he explained that well.
Mentality. There's a lot of entitlement here. Caveat, a lot of people are truly suffering, like truly out on their luck, truly in a terrible position. I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about the people that talk about how bad their life is as they sit in a nice apartment, watching Netflix, ordering takeout.
Preach!
That type of entitlement. There seems to be a lot of that. There's also entitlement at the very high end. Too big to fail mentality. So if a company took their risks, whether that be a big bank, an airline, or whatever, when things are good, and then when things aren't so good, they're bailed out. Number 8, healthcare. Now,
there is definitely a lot of entitlement here that I don't understand. And like you said, those big companies that take risks all the time get bailed out every single time.
When things aren't so good, they're bailed out. Number 8, healthcare. Now, if I have brain surgery, I'm quite happy to be here in the U.S. Excellent doctors, great healthcare facilities. But on the insurance side of things, it's quite ridiculous. Yeah. So abroad, I paid $1,100 a year. I had a healthcare plan that covered every country in the world, even Iran of all places, right? But every country. I could even come back and go to the best healthcare and best hospitals in the United States. And so it was $1,100 and my deductible was $2,000. Now back here, $500 a month and a $7,000 deductible. For those that don't know the deductible language, it means basically your insurance doesn't even start paying, it doesn't start working until you spend $7,000 out of pocket first. And then it starts working, even though you're paying the $500 a month. So that seems to be a problem no political party really wants to fix.
$500 a month plus a $7,000 deduct. That is absolutely sick.
There's too much money to be made in it. Number 9, free speech. So I've been to countries where people are limited in what they can say. Usually it has to do with politics. So you're in a great conversation, and then there's like this tenseness you can feel. And you can tell that the person wants to continue speaking, but they're scared of speaking. That is a detrimental thing to one's health, to one's sovereignty. And it's something as a country, I know the topics come up this last year quite a bit. It's very important. It's very important that we're able to speak as we think, because repressing it, from what I've seen in the world, doesn't lead to anything good. And then there's also the cultural side of free speech, where people are so scared to stay true to their tune that let's just say they kill the music and they sound like everyone else. It's quite obnoxious just to hear like this monologue of thought about certain issues, what's deemed to be appropriate or correct. And the fear, back to fear, that a lot of people have of just speaking true to their mind. And
I swear.
Look, there are serious consequences, unfortunately now. I'm not in corporate America, thank God. But if you are, there's consequences with your job. It's a very dangerous place to be in. Free speech, we have it in this country. It's a beautiful thing. We need to not let it slip. Number 10, cycles of poverty.
That one's, I do agree with that. Free speech, definitely got to keep free speech. Definitely don't want anyone deciding what you can say or you can't say. I agree with that 100%. Free speech is definitely important.
We need to not let it slip. Number 10, cycles of poverty, whether that be inner city America, parts of inner city America, Appalachia, different parts of the country. People are definitely left out in the cold economically. And these are deep, complex issues, but no politicians seem to really want to address this problem we have in the country. I think the reason is it's going to go way beyond an election cycle. It's going to take way too much work. It's going to take decades, I think, to truly address the problem. And so it's almost like a New Deal type of effort that needs to take place. So when you have, rampant drug addiction, lack of skills, education, all these things, this takes a lot of time. And again, the politicians like to pit us against each other versus address that problem. Doesn't matter what side of the aisle. Nobody seems to really, really deeply care about that issue in this country. And after walking so many of these streets in our cities and so many of the streets in different cities around the world, we have a problem. And look, it's complicated. If someone's into drugs, if they're addicted, how do you get them off? I mean, my dad quit alcohol, when he wanted to quit alcohol. It's not from whatever anyone said to him. And that's the case for a lot of people. And then if you have, not even, the ability to write or English language skills, people need purpose, back to purpose, right? They need employment. Okay, what's that job gonna be? They need housing, obviously. They need training. They need some sort of family, community. The only way out of this is to put a massive effort forward. So there's also, people that are in these communities where they don't have opportunity. You might just have to leave. I did. I moved out of the countryside of Vermont. I don't know what I would do there for work, right? So, the good thing I will say is in the US, if you have the skills, you can move and figure something out. It's not like there's a lack of opportunity. It's just if you don't have the skills, what do you do? Okay, San Francisco, this is probably the best place to be homeless. If there's such a thing, this is the best place to be homeless because the most is given to them. That's not a solution. It just attracts more homelessness. It doesn't fix an actual problem.
That's facts.
So we need to get to the ground level of this issue as a country. That really pains me to come back because it's only getting worse. And again, the politicians don't seem to really care about the deep dive on this issue. Number 11.
Politicians definitely don't care about that at all. But this dude, I feel like he's definitely very logical in everything that he's talking about and the way he's explaining things. It just makes complete sense where you almost just have to agree with him. We almost have to agree with him because I feel like all his points are definitely like spot on.
Seem to really care about the deep dive on this issue. Number 11, sellouts. Feel like there are a lot of sellouts in this culture. And that could be online, just pushing fear narrative nonstop. I know this is a negative video, but this is about as negative as I get. Usually I'm an optimist with my content. But the fear narrative, pitting people against one another, that's pretty profitable. You have the NBA selling out to China, Hollywood selling out to China, not holding any values or principles, but just selling out for money, obviously. It's really sad to see that in this country because it's actually, that's a corrosive energy that harms all of us. Number 12, lack of...
That one, I feel like, I mean, money here, it's profit is the number one priority of America, I feel like. So, am I surprised at selling out for a certain amount of money? No, I'm not surprised, but selling out, I can understand. I mean, you have thoughts about it. I mean, I've had thoughts on YouTube just about like wanting to make different kind of content just to get more views so I can make more money. But at the end of the day, it's like you have to come to an understanding of who you are, like what you stand for, and like it's hard to be genuinely something that you're not. And so when you see me positive and smiling and happy in all my videos, that's because I'm genuinely a positive, happy, smiling person. But if there were videos where it was like just negativity, the whole video is like that's not who I am.
That's a corrosive energy that harms all of us. Number 12, lack of compassion, empathy. I've always found the U.S. to be a very friendly, open place, but it's definitely the most tense at the moment. And you know, understanding where someone is coming from, you know, why they vote for a certain person, why would they do that? You know, just having the curiosity to see what are their motives behind what they do.
Yeah. And
not coming in from, I'm better than you, you have to defend yourself, but come in from, I'm interested in you. I want to know why you think this way.
Thank you.
Quite often, when you hear someone out, it makes a lot of sense. But we're living in an illusion somewhat right now. We're all seeing the world through what's being presented to us through a screen, and everyone has an objective, and knowing what that objective is a good thing. And back to the news, it's like not always what they're reporting, it's quite often what they're not reporting. And why are they not reporting that story? It's because they have an objective. They want you to think a certain way. And what's my objective here? My objective is, in this channel, I want you to see the world at on a tangible ground level and make your own opinion. I don't want to force it, whatever, down your throat and tell you how to think. With that said, I have a view of the world. I'm mostly an optimist. I like different people from different places. I like different stories, and there might be a bias in that, but I'll be straight up with you on that. My goal and my objective is to be completely authentic, as best as I can be, and not try to hide the truth. It's the search for truth, which is somewhat of a moving target, as we know.
For sure.
Number 13.
Nah, I really like that. If we come from a place of trying to understand someone instead of just automatic, I feel like more times than not now we listen to respond instead of listening to understand. And so it's like, I'm going to listen to you just so I can respond to you and say why you're wrong and say why you shouldn't believe this, say why you should, instead of saying, you know what, I'm going to listen to you and try to really understand where you're coming from. And when you do listen like that, like he said, they tend to make a lot more sense because now you're not listening trying to respond or defend something. You're listening to understand where that person is coming from.
Truth, which is somewhat of a moving target, as we know. Number 13, COVID, the COVID divider, I'd like to call it. It's like this pandemic should have brought us together. Like, why would it not bring us together? We all have to deal with it. No one's immune from it.
Facts.
But it's actually done the opposite. It's become political, unfortunately. And in my neighborhood in San Francisco, wow, it's like it's lost all humanity. Nobody looks at each other. Everyone seems to be scared of one another. Even going on a
crazy.
hiking trail can be stressful, even when you're masked up. Like when I'm around people, I'll go masked up.
Yeah.
But even with that, people look at you as like a threat.
Yeah.
It's like, come on, guys. We all have to deal with this. Nobody wants to.
Yeah.
So let's smile at each other, say hi, be compassionate. It's really something that should bring us together and not be a political thing. For example, I have my mask down. You know, if I'm 100 feet away from someone outside, fine, I'm having my mask down. I'm not wearing it. And someone called me a Trump supporter because I had my mask down.
It's crazy.
Like, okay, even if I was, which I'm not, what the hell does that have to do with my mask?
I swear to
At all.
God, bro.
It's ridiculous.
I swear to God.
Yeah, let's get beyond this stupidness we're in right now.
I swear, COVID definitely got politicized into one side saying it's not even a real virus, it's not, and the other side, but you know what I'm saying, being deathly afraid, and them just going at it on social media, on the news, on everything, just two sides going at it. It's like, no matter what, like it seems like we're always divided into two groups.
Ridiculous. Yeah, let's get beyond this stupidness we're in right now. So you live down here, though?
Yeah, I've been here for 25 years.
What's the feel? What's the feel at the moment?
So the feel at the moment is, like I said, it's a ghost town. Literally all of these buildings you see downtown, every single one of them, all the way down from basically 5th Street down to the Embarcadero, are literally completely empty, including Salesforce Tower, Facebook Tower, my building, which is right next to Salesforce.
Wow.
They're all totally empty, and they spent all that money and all those billions of dollars on building all these skyscrapers, and now they sit empty, and they're literally telling everybody it's a new work-at-home world and get used to it, and you're never going to leave your house now and stay in lockdown. And the 7-Eleven is closed.
Oh my God.
The 7-Eleven that's supposed to be open 24/7. I don't think I've ever seen it closed in 25 years. You can't even go in there and get anything now. I mean, literally everything is just closed. It's a total ghost town.
So you think people will go back to work in these towers eventually, or what's your?
They're saying only about 40% are going to go back.
And everything's indefinite right now. That's what there's no clear end at the
there's no
light
clear
at the
end
end
in
of this.
sight. I mean, I've been working for all these tech companies for decades, and they're all saying we don't see this ending anytime soon. Just stay at home for the near future. They're saying for at least a year.
God dang.
And this is sad. The crime is on this. This is how we met, just over this memorial. So from my understanding, some guy was let out of prison who shouldn't have committed many crimes. This poor woman was killed in a car accident because he hit her. I think that's the case, but that's cool. People are bringing flowers. That's one bit of hope of society. Look at these buses. Nobody riding them. As you can see, these streets, nobody walking them either. More than anything, is this sort of a documentation of history. Those are my big negatives. I also have a video about the positives. I'll leave a link at the end here. And I do want to say,
check that out.
Overall, America is a wonderful place. It's a great country, going through an odd time. And another odd thing is I'm actually more pro-American now than any time before in my life, despite all the division, despite which seems to be all the hate. Look, we're getting gamed. We are getting gamed by our politicians and by our media. Americans, through and through, the vast majority are cool, want to connect, want to get along. Doesn't matter the political party, doesn't matter the background. That is the beauty of this country. We're getting gamed. We're waking up to it, I think. Slowly waking up to it. We got better days ahead. And look, more people immigrate here than any other country in the world. It's not because it sucks. If it sucked, people wouldn't. They just wouldn't come here. People move because they want to better their lives. And so, despite our big problems right now, and I'm not undermining those, and I can be very honest and sober and say, we do have big problems.
Yeah.
I believe in this country. Better days ahead. Thanks for coming along, guys. I got a Patreon page, link at the end here if you want to support the channel. And much more to come about different sub-communities, different corners of the country that I'm going to get into over this next year. All right. Have a great day. Until the next one.
That was a dope video, man. And I mean, I feel like he was spot on with all of these thoughts, and I definitely understand where he's coming from and where he's speaking from. But that's all we got. If you guys got a favorite video suggestion, you can subscribe to Patreon or drop it in the comment section. Subscribe to the channel, ring notification bell, get a video a thumbs up so it gets suggested. I got social media, Patreon, all up top. You want to subscribe to any of that, put all the links in the description. All you got to do is hit the link, follow me, talk to me. Love talking to you guys. You guys are the most incredible team on YouTube. It's your boy D-Neal. Out.